Hello, y'all on YouTube. This is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a Rob's Ramblings. We're going to talk about fixed blades and how I got into that. All right, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a little Rob's Rambling, and I had been wanting to do this for a while. A few topics here. One that's kind of stood out is fixed blades. I kind of got into fixed blades, and next thing you know, now I have several, and probably will be getting more. What is the deal with fixed blades? I was a folder only guy, so that's really all I ever wanted. Just a simple folder, right? I was a Benchmade thumb stud only kind of guy. With the first fancy knife I ever got. Wasn't going to do anything else. Didn't have a goal, a plan whatsoever to get any other kind of knife. Then I got one fixed blade. Next thing you know, I got a slip joint. I was like, I'm not going to do slip joints. I don't do that. I don't do that, right? I have slip joints too. That's a whole nother topic. But I got into the fixed blades, and the first thing that started me off was my tactile knife company. This little guy was the perfect size. This is the Dread-Eye by Tactile Knife Company. Little Richlight micarta, black Richlight micarta handles. The original one I had was MagnaCut. This one here is in CPM 3V, which is a great fixed blade knife for hard use, right? Tough steel, keeps its edge well. Love the Kydex sheath here, which is, if you can tell, I like Kydex sheath. I'm not a leather sheath kind of guy. Okay, I'm not a leather sheath. And I'll tell you, I have one. That is a leather sheath, but it's kind of a special one. It's one that is in my collection only because it's been in my collection forever. So I don't really have Safe Queens, but I do have one. This is my dad's knife that he bought before World War II. It's almost 100 years old. When I first got it, the leather was so dry and cracked that it took a long time to fix that. When I got the blade itself had been hand polished or whatever, and with a grinding kind of machine, it was terrible. It was terrible, and I probably need to put some fresh oil on here because it looks like I might actually have a little corrosion on there from the leather. Yeah, look at that. All right. So over a while, you can see where this grind here. It took a long time for me to kind of belt polish this up to kind of be somewhat normal. The tip was a little damaged. This is not fantastic steel. This is a Safe Queen only because it was my dad's knife. It's one of these knives that even my brothers, you can see some of the edge right there. It took a while just to even get that going. Pretty sharp now, but not. It's reasonable. Handmade wood, brass right there, brass little clip, leather loop, whatever you want to call that thing. This is a Brusaletto and Gaelic or Gailo. Brusaletto and Gailo. I don't know who that is. He got it in Norway. I don't know if it's from Italy or what. You can even see right here, this was cut, and look at me as a young kid. I sewed that. Oh, it's terrible. But anyways, some of the things you don't realize. And it's leather sheath. I'm not a fan of leather sheath because I cut it there and there. And then it also comes with a little itty bitty blade, dude, which is dirty as well. But I think that's really cool, right? So my boys all want to inherit these knives. They would very much like to inherit. And I get it. I understand. I can see that. I mean, it's meaningful. It was my dad's knife, so for them it's like their grandfather's knife, right? But he bought this as a Boy Scout, Danish Boy Scout in Norway before World War II, and it's I think it was in the early 30s. Yeah, so I mean we're getting close to 100 years now. It's at least 95 years old now. So this is a Safe Queen not because of the value of the blade and the material or anything like that, because of the value of the history, right? So that was my one fixed blade I always had. It was meaningful because it was my dad's. But I never really carried fixed blades until I got my Dread-Eye. And this was a great EDC size. And it clipped really well. I usually carry vertical. If you didn't tell from everything here, I typically carry vertical, except for this one I haven't moved over to vertical yet because I've been trying to do that one standing up. So this clips in there and then it releases like that. I carry something on my right side, a personal pew that I'm licensed for. So this is where I use the knife with the left hand. And I always have a folding knife in my right pocket, so that's always over there. And what I find useful for this size is that it is such a great tool to have when you have a really nice knife in your pocket. Like, like I've been carrying the Shaman. This is a user knife, definitely a hard user knife for sure, right? So you can definitely use this knife. Sorry about that. My son was just obnoxiously loud back there. All right, so this is it's a nice knife, but this is meant to be a user. It's LMAX, so it's not one of those fancy knives, and I feel fine using it. It's not, but when I'm carrying something like, I don't know, let's say I'm carrying my Utzler neutralizer. I mean, this is a custom knife right here by Utzler Knives. So this is a little expensive, right? You don't want to be, you know, I mean, I use this knife, I carry it. Absolutely. Every knife I own, I carry, which is my personal choice. I do that from my collection. Not everybody does that, but I do. And that includes something like this, my Brian Brown Mini FSD with the Damascus inlay right there. That's, I think it's gorgeous. One of these that I found, I couldn't believe I found, and I so much enjoyed getting into my collection. And now I'm just super stoked that it's in my collection. So anyways, a really fantastic little knife here. But when I'm carrying it, I don't want to be in a situation where I've got to cut something rough. That's why I like to, when I have something like this, I like to carry a fixed blade. And so for me, fixed blades are very functional. All right, they're very functional. It's a great tool. I'm not a fixed blade only guy. I will, if I carry anything, I will always carry a folding knife, right? I like to carry a slip joint. Like right now I'm carrying a slip joint. I think I'm carrying my Tactile Knife Company. Speaking of this, this was my first, you know, not my first, but this right here is Tactile Knife Company. This is the Dread Eye, but this is also Tactile Knife Company. This is the Bear. So that's kind of, you can see that little tactile there. But I'll carry something like that in my pocket regularly. All right, so then after all of that, I was gifted a knife to me. It was really, really kind. I was gifted this knife right here from Chef Rocky. This is my strop, and I use this around the house. Hard use. He said, hey, if I give this to you, use it. And I do. I use this, and I have it. So it's nicely locked in here in my belt. I can definitely carry it around and use it. And it's, ooh, well, I might need to oil that. I think I got a little rust there from not cleaning it last time. Okay, anyways, this is made by Veteran Strop Knives. Really, really cool company. They're going to be at Blade Show, Texas, depending on when you see this video. That might be in the past, but really, really cool functional knife. The way it grips, the finger guard, everything, you're not going to lose this knife. You have total grip. You've got texture. It's not going to slip out of your hand. You can be able to turn this cut and everything. It's a very thick, hardy knife. Definitely getting into dog food, cat food, fertilizer, mulch, you know, cutting branches, whatever. This is definitely a hard use kind of knife. So that was a gifted knife to me. And I've been using it. I like that. I like that. It's a knife that I felt like I had permission to hard use, and I very much did so. So then after that, what did I get next? And the knives. I think after that, I bought. No, I bought this right here. I bought the McNees. This is the Ridge Runner. This got 2024 Atlanta Fixed Blade Show Knife of the Year. This is CPM 3V as well. It's got a nice Kydex sheath as well, a little tech lock on here as well to get in and out of the pocket. Works really nicely, right? Great little clip there as well. So, which is really cool. So you can use tech lock, ulti clips, whatever loops. I like loops lately. I've also liked ulti clips. But this one I've enjoyed carrying. It carries really well for an 8-inch knife. This is just at 8 inches. So it's a really rough, strong knife, full tang, all that stuff. So to me, that's important. The lanyard loop, I don't really care much about. Like this one I used on a camping trip in Big Bend National Park, and I used the heck out of it. And it was great for prepping fire, getting kindling ready at night, every time we'd get the fire going to cook and stuff. So I really enjoy that. So I wanted to get something that was a little more robust, and I got this. I was so excited when he dropped this because I have his Mech 2 3.5-inch frame lock and the automatic, right? So that was my third knife in my collection. I was very excited about that. So I really enjoyed it. Then I bought this knife from Mr. Eddie. This was supposed to be a gifted knife to somebody, but it ended up not working out. So now it's back in my collection. And this is a handmade knife from Mr. Eddie himself. He did this. We call this the creamy, dreamy, you know, I forget, buttery, whatever, butterscotch, creamy, dreamy butterscotch, sickle, whatever. Cool knife. I like the steel. I think it's 1095. I can't remember what he said the steel was on this one. Nice, sharp, but very functional little blade. Really comfortable. It's got a nice little Kydex sheath as well. This is one that I stick in the pocket just for that. But it's also a pretty blade. It's a pretty blade with a pretty handle. And it just comes across as very much, you know, I don't know, really cool. And the way you notice this material right here, it's very consistent on both sides, but it's not. So you have a texture on top, which gives you a little texture for your cut, right? But you've got texture over here, so you could really pinch grip with that. That texture is strong enough to be a pinch grip. You can definitely use that. Nice flat black grind is almost like a Scandi grind, sort of. I just realized that. But there's an edge on there. So very functional, very nice pokey tip getting in there. Again, a small knife, a small EDC. It would be one of those smaller ones. This is right at my limit of my hands getting a full grip on there. So it's not going to be for a big person, but that's what I like about these small EDC knives, right? So then after that, Quiet Carry came out with the Mark, and I got a chance to check it out. This is the Mark. This is my big boy. This is my big, it's 9-inch over 9-inch knife. This is when if I go camping or anything like that, this is the knife I'm bringing, right? It's gonna be my hard use knife. This Kydex sheath works fantastic. The one I checked out at first that they allowed me to get a loaner on was a leather sheath, and that was okay. The leather sheath was okay, but this one is the Kydex one, and I really like that more. So I had to return it, but then I ended up buying this, and I bought two, and I was thinking, hey, I'm going to give one away on the channel. But then my son came at Christmas. He loved this knife, and so I wanted to give him the second one I have, but he wouldn't take it. So I made him pay me very, very little for it, just because he wanted to pay for it. That way he owned it. He thought he bought it, and everything, and that's good. I'm glad. That means he kind of has more ownership and feel about it. But it was definitely a gift for him to enjoy. So this is probably one of my favorite carries as well. It's the biggest knife, and I carry this more often. Today I was carrying this knife. It's just such a useful knife and a good Kydex sheath. And this little pop-up here really gives you a nice deployment. And the grip on the Quiet Carry is just ridiculously awesome. So comfortable in hand, so comfortable. And it even has this tang, full tang all the way back here. This is Magna Cut in this one, HRC 62 at least, so it's nice, tough. You can, do things. It has a lanyard loop back here if you're a big lanyard fan. But just a really functional, useful knife. It's not the thinnest blade, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be a hard use kind of knife. And that's what this is. So that was the blade I bought next, and I really have enjoyed the heck out of it. Then I got a chance to check out Blackbird blades. Actually, before that, I had the Militov fixed blade, which I really like. I got it, I reviewed it, and I gave it away on the channel. I think it's a great knife. I like the Militov. Matter of fact, almost considering getting the Militov that could do a 3V version of that. I think it'd be great. It's just a very good ergonomic design. I like it. But then I got a chance to check out Blackbird blades. Now he does custom knives, and he did a Grackle. I have his folding knife, the Grackle, and so then he did a fixed blade Grackle. This one here. All right, so the Grackle. Sorry, I'm back. Someone is at the door. So the Grackle folding knife is fantastic. It was one of those sleepers. Someone asked me to review it. I did. And I'm like, man, I really like it. And I thought, you know what? The more I handle it, I thought maybe if I tune it, put skiffs in it. And I did. Amazing knife. So I bought it. It's in my collection. I really enjoy that knife. Here's the Grackle fixed blade. And it's a production knife. This one is also, I believe this one's made by, I think it's Riot. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it's Riot or Bestech. I think maybe it's Bestech. I can't remember. Anyways, if I remember, I'll put it there. But if not, it'll be a link for it. G10 handles, very comfortable. A great, again, EDC size, waistband up, nice, easy deployment, right at the limit. But this is what I want. I want an EDC that when I'm carrying a really fancy knife like my mini FSD right here, I don't want to be stuck where I'm going to have to do something cutting that's going to be risky. I worry about the blade. I'm going to roll the blade and scratch it all up. I don't want to be doing that. I use this knife. I'll cut boxes, letters, and all sorts of stuff, right? Love doing that. Love using the knife. I don't have an issue with any of the above. But I don't want to be stuck where I cut into staples or I cut something really that I'm going to regret. Like I was at a party and I was asked to open a bottle of wine. Like, you got a knife? You're the knife guy. This was a couple years ago. And like, okay. And I felt obligated. I had to go cut it. And I rolled a blade. I rolled the edge. I had to re-apex the edge. And I was like, never again. That's when I sort of wanted to have what I call a fifth pocket knife with me, an alternative when I have a nicer knife. And that's where I got, slip joints and fixed blades really is a nice alternative to that. But this is just that perfect little carry around with you EDC. It's not meant to be any tactical or anything the military could use. This is just meant to be a useful tool. Useful tool when you need something to cut some boxes, to cut something, get into a box, open leather, mulch, fertilizer, whatever. It is exactly just that. So such a good tool. I really like this one. I bought it on the pre-order. I'm super glad to be. I have it in my collection. It's just a very functional size, and I very much enjoyed that. Well, then, lo and behold, the wonderful folks over at Luft Concepts reached out to me, and I was totally blown away. They said, hey, I asked is there a chance that I could maybe, is there a loaner knife that I could borrow? Check this out, because I would very much like to check out your fixed blade. Now this is their, they have, I've had the Avant, which I had in my collection, right? Is that rust from use? Oh my gosh, I gotta put well on this. Sorry guys. Oh, look at that. No, okay, that's from, okay, I cut a pear with this knife. I'll be honest with you. That is pear stuff. Okay. All right, so anyways, this is a USA made knife. This is made in the USA. So this is Luft USA. The next knife they did was the RWB, which I have. Great knife made by Riot. But this is a USA made knife. Really, really functional, really useful, great blade, great handle. Again, it's that EDC compact size. Now, this particular one is Magna Cut. It's got that great blade shape where I could be at campsite, I could be prepping food, maybe if you were hunting, right, and you had something you hunted and you were taking care of and processing, this would be a great tool for that. It's thick, but it's very thin and slicey, and it's got a nice sharpness to it, and it's a tough tool. So I like this one a lot. Really enjoyed having this, and this was also a 3D printed sheath, and that works really well. Locks in nice and solid in there. Again, ulti-clip and all that stuff. So then after that, I reached out to Vero and I said, hey, I'd love to, is there a chance that you have any way that I could maybe buy a knife early and then I could do a review and drop it around the time when you release your knives? Because there's certain knife makers that do really well for me. I mean, Quiet Carry, I'll be honest with you. Anytime I review anything from Quiet Carry, people enjoy that. And I enjoy Quiet Carry. I like Quiet Carry. That's why I enjoy reviewing their stuff. Tactile Knife does well. You know, McNees obviously does well, and some of these other guys, I don't think they do as quite as well because people don't know them as well. But these knives that people do really, I mean, even, yeah, the Kizer has done well, but these knives do well because I like Quiet Carry. I like McNees. I like, what was the other one I was looking at? McNees, Luft Concepts, and Blackbird blades. I mean, I was surprised how well this one did. This one did really well in my reviews. I thought that was super cool. So I thought, you know, hey, is there any chance? Because I've really been enjoying the Nova, the Mini Nova, the Lux, the Mini Lux actually is the better fit for my hand. I had a Lux, it was a little bit too big. I have a Mini Axon, which is a great size. I tend to like this, even though they look small in my hands, they fit just perfectly. They're right at that size for me, like this, you know. So if you got hands that are any bit bigger, you may not care for that, but I like that size. I like a knife that feels like it's got a presentation. It's not overly. I don't like super overbuilt knives. I'm not into that. Maybe I will be someday down the road. I don't know. I mean, this is as close to almost overbuilt that I get. This is my Shaman. It's a pretty big knife, right? It's almost at 9 inches, but I enjoy that knife. That's kind of sort of there. But then again, you know, I also have a Spyderco, a little Sage 5 that I enjoy. A smaller guy like that. So there is that. So anyways, speaking of that, so I spoke to Vero and said, hey, do you have something? And they said, sure, you know, you can be part of our affiliate and you get a little link. And so whenever, you know, I have a link in my Vero review of the Mini Nova and my Mini 3.3 Lux and the regular Nova and also the Axon fixed blade. And so there's a link there. If you use that affiliate link, it helps the channel, right? So probably have it here because I have this fixed blade here because this is one of those that if you were to buy this and use the link, it helps me. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help me. They sent this to me to use, to review, and what have you. And I really, really like this blade shape. Black micarta. I don't know if they, the one they have now is black stonewash. This is DLC, so this is older version. M390 blade steel. Again, this is one of those blades that I can use when I'm carrying a nicer knife, right? When I'm carrying something like this, and I want something that looks classy and is very functional, this knife works. This is going to be a nice slicer. It's going to get in there. It's going to get into boxes. It's going to be able to cut things. You know, if I'm camping, you could sort of use it on camping. I mean, camping, I will tell you, I like this for EDC. 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 Those are great small knives to carry, and I will EDC both of these because they're great. So I really got a chance to check this out. I enjoy that. And then Kizer sent me, I actually bought this. Kizer had a sale, and I bought the smolt. Now, this will probably be a giveaway, but I wanted to check this out. This is a 3V blade steel, full tang, small little guy. It's right at my limit, right there, right? If I were to get any closer, it'd almost be a 3-finger knife. But it is a small, little itty bitty guy, and I like it. I like this for what it is, right? It works really well, getting in and out of the pocket like that. So for me, this is a cool little knife. Definitely comfortable in the hand, definitely small, and definitely a knife you could feel comfortable using and abusing, right? Especially 3V steel, you know it's going to be pretty good. This is a stylus design, so that's really cool. Again, another small type of EDC knife that I enjoy. So, as you can see, for me, some people are going to be into the big, giant fixed blades, and they're hardcore fixed blades, and that's cool, man. If that's your thing, collect away. Collect away, man. I always say, buy what you love and love what you buy, right? Not everyone has to have someone else's collection. Whatever you buy, that's your collection. Those are your knives. They're not anybody else's. You have no one to apologize for. You have no one to justify yourself to. But if someone asks you, you're welcome to say why you bought it. That's what I do. That's why I started this channel. It's just my thoughts. You don't have to agree with me. You could think I'm completely wrong. I'm okay with that. I'm not offended by you disagreeing with me. The only thing I ask for anybody in the comments and on this channel in the community is tell me why you disagree. If you think I bought a knife is not a smart decision, tell me why. Tell me what you think would be a better decision. Give me an alternative, right? Maybe you have one of these knives. Like for this one, let's say you have really massive hands and you're like, I can't use this knife. It's a 3-finger knife. That's a fair statement. But some people with really big, massive hands might like a little itty bitty knife like this. It could be a 5th, 6th pocket knife, you know, something to carry in the ankle. I don't know. But for you, if it's really small, it's hard to grab, that makes sense. All right, so now someone knows if they've got gigantic hands, they're going to be like, well, okay, that's going to be a hard knife for them to carry with big, giant hands, right? I'm telling you, with my large hands, big, meaty fingers, the Grackle is just right at the limit, but it's really comfortable and it works. It works, and it's a great tool. So if your hands are bigger than that, you're going to be like, maybe I need to think twice about it. If your hands are smaller than that, that's definitely going to fit. You know, so that's why I share that. I'm hoping it helps you to say, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I won't. Like this one right here. This is so big, so out of my size normally, but it has so much extra room, extra large, double extra large, maybe even triple extra large hands. You're going to find this comfortable. The grooves in here are the most comfortable, natural fitting grooves I have ever felt in a knife before. I mean, it literally feels like a glove. These are the most comfortable handles I have ever had on a fixed blade. I absolutely love this fixed blade. It is the most comfortable. It was my fixed blade, overseas fixed blade of the year. This was my USA fixed blade of the year, but you know, I don't think I ever said what was my fixed blade of the year. I might have said it was this, but the more I think about it, I love this knife. It is so good. It is so good. But the one that I think I really love this knife. I love everything about it. The ergonomics. Now, have I gone out surviving, backpacking? No. And one thing that's interesting, notice the screws on there. Some of you guys may be, why there's screws in some of these knives? You can take the scales off. So if you're processing food, cooking chicken, maybe you're hunting, you're processing your game, you might get stuff in there. You want to clean it out. You can take the scales off. You can clean it out. You could replace the scales. You could put custom scales on there. I'm having custom scales put on another knife by J Dizzle Designs. Awesome, dude. Now, this is more of a traditional knife. This is the pins. This is not the one you replace. This is more of a traditional knife that you have where it doesn't have the screw. The more modern knives have that. So, you know, that's going to be a little different. You know, for some people, they like that because it's more of a traditional, kind of a classic sort of knife, right? But it's USA made. This is USA made. This is USA made as well, but it's more of a manufacturing production. And you've kind of got that rough kind of look where, if you notice over here, similar kind of sort of rough. One is a little more, I think this kind of makes you feel like you found a piece of steel and the dude just, you know, Mr. Eddie just made this look cool, right? And it just happens to be perfect, so you have that texture. And so it looks unintentional, but being very intentional. That's what I love about this. It's like, it's the most intentional, unintentional knife I've ever seen. You know what I mean? And that's what I appreciate about it. And then I do love these scales. This butterscotch, creamy, dreamy, butterscotch, good, you know, scales. I love that. I think I actually have a name for it. I think I called it the creamy, dreamy butterscotch scales or something like that. Because I just think it looks like a swirled up, beautiful, creamy, dreamy butterscotch, right? Kind of like an amaretto with, you know, coffee or something as you're mixing it. I don't know, kind of cool. But here, again, this is a rougher knife for harder use, you know, for whatever you're using. Again, it's a tool. Every one of these things are a tool, and you got to find out what's the tool that works the best for you. And I can tell you, these wouldn't be in my collection if I didn't like them. Now, I'm probably going to end up giving this one away. I like it. I like it a lot. Just like I like the Militov from Kizer, the fixed blade that they did. That was really good. That's a really good fixed blade, and I would probably have in my collection, but this will probably end up being a giveaway, right? This was a gift, so I'm definitely keeping that. This was made by Mr. Eddie. I still might be making this a gift, because to me, it's just special. It's the handmade USA custom kind of knife. I feel like that's special, right? Then we have this one right here is definitely one of my enjoyable carries, as is the LTL by Luft Concepts. I really like this. Really like this. So functional. So great in hand. Matter of fact, I'm going to be at Blade Show Texas. I'm hoping I get to run into Vincent and Jake over there and talk to them, and Ryan, if he's there as well, obviously. I hope to interview Joseph Vero at Vero Engineering, because I'm really excited about that. I hope to run into the Kizer folks, talk to them. I'd like to talk to Michael and the crew over there at Tactile Knife Company. Hope to interview them a little bit and talk about their knives. I hope to run into Jonathan McNees and talk about his knives, and what his thoughts are on after winning that big knife show of the year and everything, and what are his thoughts. Quite Carry won't be there, but that's okay, because they're one of those people that they just did that good. They're good. Now I will tell you, here's the difference. Okay, so USA made, USA made, USA made, USA made, right? And USA made. Those are all USA made. This is made in China. This is made in China. Okay, so just to be fair, made in China, made in China. Made in China. All these three knives are made in China. Riot, I think it's Riot or Best. I think it's Riot. Riot, maybe it's Best, but I think it's Riot. Kizer, right? Now this Quite Carry is made in Taiwan, so you can't. It's overseas, but it's Taiwan, and that does change things. That's a little nicer. If you know, you know. I mean, that's the reason why Demco, Spyderco, Spartan Blades, and others use Taiwan. It's a little different and a little nicer. So I'm just saying, you could agree to disagree with me, but this makes this a little bit nicer. This is a step up. I mean, these are great. These are fantastic. These are done really, really well. This is the great bang for the buck for this one right here. This is ridiculous. You want a cheap knife you can just use. This is great. You want a really well-designed knife that has the touch of Blackbird blades, because if you look at his customs, this has got that feel of his customs, right? It's got that aesthetic that's very unique to his. Now, he has different scales. I'm sure you could probably get some custom scales made by him if you asked him. Well, I got number 10. I think this is just really cool. Just really cool, right? So it has his aesthetic, and it's just a functional, good design. I like this. It's just going to be great for using, right? So to me, this is a great tool. Vero is part of that whole Vero engineering, that whole aesthetic that you see in Vero engineering. It translated into their fixed blades from their folders, which I love, because I've had an Axon, a mini Axon, a Lux, a mini Lux, a Nova, a mini Nova. I've had several of his other knives. I can't remember what they are now. It's been a while. But those are all fantastic blades. Now I have the fixed Axon blade, which I think is phenomenal as well. So I love the aesthetics. And here's the thing. Somebody will tell you there's 10 other knives that are great. And you know what? They are. There are great knives out there that I haven't even touched or explored yet, and I may never explore, because I am not a collector of fixed blades. I look at a fixed blade and I say, I really like that. Or it might have been a gift to me. Either way, I either am drawn to it, or it's something made for me, or something that was gifted to me. And when it's gifted to me, it becomes special. There's always a story. I really agree with Ben Peterson about having a story behind the knives. I think that really makes things meaningful. It does to me. It does to me. I like that. I like that a lot. So, this, from Luft Concepts has a story. Strop Knives, Chef Rocky has a story. Mr. Eddie, this has a story. Vincent, this has a story. Jonathan, this has a story. Michael and the whole Tactile team up there in Dallas, this has a story. Quiet Carry, this has a story. Because, they loaned this knife to me the first time for me to check it out. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I bought it over Christmas. So excited to get it in my collection. And then this one here. This is one that I hadn't really checked out. But the fact that Vero Engineering allowed me to check this out, it is such a good blade. Black micarta. I'm not normally a micarta fan. And here I am, right? Now it's a little sharper, which some people will really like in a fixed blade because it gives them a little grip, little corners, a little edge to keep your knife steady. That's fine. And I get that. I get that. That makes a logical sense. But being micarta, I round it just a little bit on the edges, made it a little more comfortable for me, and I really enjoy that. Now it comes in different types of scales. You can obviously get different scales. I don't know if I can replace these scales. I don't think they sell them individually, but I could get them custom made. Love the fact that they can, you know, you can screw them off and clean them and stuff. But again, knife has a story. It has meaning. It really does. This one as well. This always will be my Big Bend National Park knife, and it's just a really functional little knife. It's a hard use tool. I will tell you, for what I used for Big Bend, it's not the best tool. It's definitely a great tool to have along to cut certain things, I would say. I would always like to have that. But if I'm ever going to go back there and do that, I definitely want to have something like this, right? I want to have my Mark, or I want to have my Ridge Runner, my Ridge Runner. This is another really, you know, big old hardy beefy tool that I feel like I can really use and abuse. And I like the fact that it has just enough that I can turn the cut and everything. That makes it really, really comfortable. Now, I keep asking Jonathan if he's ever going to have the carbon fiber scales, because I want to put that on there. I think that would look stunning on here. But that's me. I like to modify my knives. I like to do a little touches here and there. And here you go. This is outside of my aesthetic, by the way. This is a burgundy, tan, and black rich light micarta scale. And I like this. I actually like this. But they took care of all the corners, all the little sharp area. So this makes it a very comfortable knife, right? So really enjoy that. Really enjoy that. All right. So knives that are functional interest me. Knives with aesthetics that please me, that make me want to own it, please call out to me. I will just tell you right now, if you didn't know this, if you've been following this channel and no one ever told you this, you are not required to buy the knives people say that everyone should have. You don't. If the knife doesn't appeal to you, if it doesn't look cool to you, if it's not something you really are excited about, if you handled it and it doesn't just like feel like a glove in your hand, don't get it. Don't get it. Buy the things you love and love the things you buy, right? Don't buy just because someone told you must have it. Like, you know, brown knives. I heard about these knives, and oh yeah, everyone, you got to try these out. And I wouldn't buy it. So then finally, a couple of channel members allowed me to check out the Cortex XL and the Mini FSD. As soon as I handled them, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Craig Brown is a master designer, engineer, wizard, whatever, right? Kind of like when you deal with Brian Winters and Winterblade Co. and his magnetic magic. I call him a magnetic wizard, right? He is just a genius in what he does. I love his stuff. There's a couple of his new ones I really, really, really want to get in there. I like his stuff. I really do. His newer designs really appeal to me, right? The other knives were always really cool, cutting edge. I don't buy knives just because it's cool and cutting edge and it's new. I buy a knife because I want to carry it. Every knife that's in my collection, I'll tell you again, didn't hear it before. Every knife I own, I carry. If I don't, it's a catch and release. I will sell a knife that does not get carried, right? That includes this knife. And yes, I carry a knife this expensive. I do, and I will. I'll continue. And if I buy something more expensive than that, I will carry it as well. I am okay with that, just so you know. So I buy the things that I enjoy. Does that mean I'm going to have more fixed blades? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I'll whittle down to a few that I carry. Maybe a few that are most meaningful to me. Maybe, you know, I don't know. I can tell you this one's not going anywhere. I can tell you this one's not going anywhere. I can tell you this one's not going anywhere. I can tell you this one's not going anywhere. I can tell you this one's not going anywhere. I can tell you this was given to the channel by Vero Engineering. So part of me is like, I really want to keep it, but I'm going to keep it and use it and get comfortable with it, do a lot of content with it, talk about it, because I love the shape of this. This is so functional. It is just brilliant. Again, it's another one of those, I'm a geek. You guys know that. Rob's Nerdy Knives, you know I'm a nerd. Come on. If you didn't know what channel you're watching, Rob's Nerdy Knives. That's me. I'm a nerd. I love Joseph Vero's design touches, his aesthetics. It scratches an itch in my brain. I don't know why, but it does. I love stuff like that. There are other manufacturers that do that. I mean, when it comes to custom knives, Craig Brown, he does the same for me. Joe with Holt Blade Works, he does the same for Steve Skiff Sr. and Steve Skiff Jr. with Skiff Made Blades does the same with it. Cher Gorf does the same with me. Some of them, not all of them. But those are things I enjoy. Jonathan McNees. I mean, he's a custom knife maker, and you can definitely see his custom, but then you see, there's a design aesthetic that works, but then there's also an engineering, functional, ergonomic thing that comes together with his stuff. It has that custom feel, but yet it's so distinct, and I love that. So to me, that's the stuff that kind of gets me excited. So I buy the knives and I carry the knives because they're meaningful. They're in my collection. They're things I use. These are going to be useful tools right here. I don't see myself ever buying some really crazy knife that I would never carry. I don't. Does that mean if someone bought me and gifted it to me, my family, my wife or something, yeah, I probably would. I mean, if it was some crazy, ridiculous, I couldn't even fathom type of knife, probably would be very different. We'd have a different conversation. I'm pretty sure of that. But we're not. I mean, these are all reasonable in my mind, right? Some of these aren't cheap, right? It's not super cheap. It's probably the most expensive one here. Then we go here. This one could be easily the most expensive one, depending on what you do with it, right? Then actually, this one would be more expensive than this one. This both USA made. I think this one's a little bit more than this one. Then we're going to get into probably this one, and then this one, and then we're going to be down to this one, and then this one. And then, of course, we've got the Kizer. So, again, this is the best bang for your buck, but I love the aesthetics. I love what you see in here. All right, this is just me rambling about fixed blades. You don't have to agree. You don't. You may not even like fixed blades, and that's okay. But maybe this translates into you with, like slip joints, because I could easily do a video like this with slip joints and talk about the slip joints that mean the most to me. I have several, and I'd like to do that at some point because I don't have a lot, but the slip joints I have, I very much enjoy, and they're very functional, and I do carry them, right? So it's just kind of interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. What are your thoughts? Are any of these knives something you would carry? Are some of these knives something you might not carry because of whatever reasons? Hey, don't just say, hey, that's ugly, that's stupid. No, stop. Don't do that, right? Be cool, be respectful. I'm not offended. I'm not going to be butthurt by anybody's comments. Trust me. Trust me. I mean, you don't do a channel like this and you don't get up to over 7,000 subscribers, at least at the time of watching this video, moving toward 8, if you don't have thick skin. You got to have thick skin, right? But at the same time, you got to moderate folks, because sometimes you can get some toxic people in there and they can just get really toxic and really mess up the community. And I protect my community. I protect my community. I want this to be positive, awesome place. People can disagree. People can argue till they're red in the face and make the merits and why something's good and something's not. I am totally cool with that. That's a good discussion. That's a discussion you want, right? Because people really share why and where they're coming from. And if people listen, people can learn, right? I've had some discussions like that with people where I say, oh, I'm never going to, blah, blah, blah. I used to say, I'll never buy a knife over $100 until I did. So I'd never buy a knife over $200 until I did. Never buy a knife over $300 until I did. Never bought a knife over $500 until I did. Never buy a knife over $800 until I did. Never buy a knife over $900 until I did. Never buy a knife over $1,000 until I did. So, here's the reality. It's a lot of things you say you won't do, but, as you learn and you grow, your aesthetics change, right? Right now, I'm not into overbuilt knives. I might be at some point, but I always think, I kind of feel like if you watch my channel enough, I got a certain aesthetic. Even in the fixed blades, you can sort of see this. This one's a bit outside my aesthetic, but it's a gift. And it works. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm so amazed when I'm using this. It is such a useful tool. That's what I love about the strop knife. It is so outside of my aesthetic of anything I would normally buy, but it's functional. It's useful. It's like how I felt about Spydercos when I first saw them, till I handled them and I'm like, oh, okay. This one is very much outside my aesthetic, but it's very meaningful because of the hand built, and he asked me some of these elements and built this for me. And so that makes this special. And then when it came together and I looked at the details, this really became a meaningful knife. It really did. Became a very meaningful knife. I always thought I'd gift it away. The more I have it, the more I have a hard time maybe ever doing that. And even talking about it now makes me realize that. Checking some of these knives out and realizing, I saw Vincent and his Blackbird blades, his designs are just phenomenal. If you ever watch his custom knives, they're just gorgeous. Some of them are so out of my price range. They really are. But this is a little taste of his production stuff as I'm going to be able to afford, at least at this point, right? Until I decide that I'm no longer going to go after grails and other things aren't more important. But I think it's gorgeous, right? I love this. Now there's another one, I believe, by Brian Brown. I haven't had a chance to check their new one out. Haven't handled it. I meant to look at it, but it's just, it didn't jump out at me. And maybe at Blade Show Texas, I'll handle it a little bit more again and talk about it. And maybe it's enough that I might consider it. I don't know. But I really like all these other ones. And I really feel like fixed blades seem to be on the rise. They seem to be a high interest in coming back. And I like that. I like that a lot. So anyways, I'm going on, and I could keep going on. I could go on for probably an hour. I could do a whole live stream on just fixed blades, I'm sure. So love to hear your thoughts on any of these knives. Love to hear your thoughts on, or questions. Questions, maybe. You know, you can tell me, hey, have you checked this knife out? And I'll probably tell you, no. Now, if you want me to check it out, you want to offer it to me, that's cool, right? Let me borrow it. If I borrow, I don't hard use. If you're going to loan me a knife, just like when Quiet Carry loaned me their mark, I didn't go cutting things. I didn't go hard use it. I didn't go chopping wood or anything with it. I feel comfortable doing it with this one. This bad boy will take care of, this will work. This will get to work, right? But loan knives, I'm very careful with. They are loaned to me, and I want to return them in the same state that they were loaned to me. So just so you know, if you have a fixed blade, you thought, oh, there's another fixed blade. I completely forgot. Rocky Graham allowed me to check out a knife that I thought was really cool. And I can't remember, was that a Bradford knife? I can't remember who it was. It was a cool knife. It had a leather sheath, and I couldn't fit it into the leather sheath, and I thought I was going to cut it. I was very afraid. And so I was more worried about that leather sheath. And so I never really got a chance to carry it. I'm not a fan of leather sheath. The blade was amazing. The blade was awesome. Enjoyed the blade a lot. I can remember. I remember to put it in here. I'll try to put it here. If not, maybe ask me in the comments, and then I'll try to go find it. But you'll definitely can look up fixed blades reviews for me, and you'll see it. But that was a cool one. The Kizer, again, like I said, it was a cool one. What else have I checked? Oh, I did check out one from Reef. It was a small one, had a perfectly round handle. Did not like that. Cool looking knife, good looking size. I was going to be an affiliate with them. I just couldn't in good faith be an affiliate. I just could not, because I've got to have the ability to hold that handle where it's not going to slide in and out of my hand. I've got to be able to grip it. It's not going to turn. It's not going to turn. I've got to be able to turn that blade. If I'm going to use it, if it's going to be a useful tool, I have to be able to cut either the cardboard, the wood, get fire ready, maybe open boxes, open, fertilizer, mulch, whatever. I got to be able to use the knife. And so that was one of those that it's like, and then I saw some larger versions that looked like that might work, but by then I was already there. They get into some of the expensive ranges. There's some great, really expensive USA made knives that I think are fantastic. But those are big, serious bushwhacking type of knives. I'm not a serious bushwhacker. I'm looking for EDC. Bradford knives has always been one of those that's interested me. I think I would do more of their LMAX series. So here's the thing. Certain steels are okay with me. 3V is a great steel. I love that. MagnaCut is a great steel as long as it's decent heat treat. I feel like even at hard fixed blades, I got to have it 62. 62 or better, right? M390, is okay, but M390 is not going to be my bushwhacking. I'm going to cut a log, split it open. This is definitely going to be a useful tool. This is going to be something I use around the house, the garage, out in the yard. Absolutely 100% carry as my fifth, as a backup blade. If I'm carrying a really nice blade, no questions asked there, right? I have a couple of Novas. I have Damascus clips and backspacers, so they become kind of fancy. So I would carry this with my Nova and my Lux and my mini Axon, right? Because they're fancy. I would say that's kind of like things that I would absolutely carry. All right. Okay, guys. So I've rambled. I've gone back and forth a lot. I'm jumping around topics. This is a rambling. This is a Rob's rambling. If you've never been in a Rob's rambling, it can be fun. It can be interesting. It can be exciting, or it can be boring. So appreciate you guys checking this out. And if you have any questions, again, let me know. Let me know. All right. If you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, entertaining, or frustrating, would you please consider hitting the like button down below, or even the dislike button? I mean, you don't have to agree with me. I'm fine with that, right? And if you hit the like button and you like this content, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. Subscribing and liking the channel really helps me out. It allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. Like some of these things might be giveaways. This might at some point way down the road might be a giveaway. Maybe, maybe. I really like it. This will probably definitely be a giveaway, right? I can definitely tell you that. I don't think any of the other ones are planning to be a giveaway. I'm very much resistant to that idea. I really like this one. I don't think that's going to be a giveaway, though it could, you never know down the road, right? I may find out that I don't carry all these knives, and I gravitate towards certain ones all the time, and if I do, those are the ones, right? But liking the channel, subscribing, all that stuff allows me to check stuff out like this, and then possibly give stuff like this away. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to you guys for liking, subscribing, being part of the channel, just being out there, watching the videos, all that stuff. Thank you. I appreciate every one of you guys out there so, so much. If you haven't already, hit that notification button again so you can be notified of future content like this and other videos. And a big shout out to all my channel members out there. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. You guys do two things for me that are really amazing. You encourage me to keep going. I'm not saying that I love this. I love everything about the knife channel. I enjoy doing the content. I also work a full-time job. Sometimes it feels like 2 full-time jobs, but I work a lot, and this is a part-time thing. And so there's days when I'm just like, I don't have much in me to do this. And then you guys, because of your generosity of being members and encouraging me, I keep going. So I got to tell you, you're like my workout buddy. When I go to the gym and I feel like, yeah, maybe I'll skip it. No, I'm going to keep going because of you guys. And I just want you to know that. That means a lot to me. Secondly, you also, because of your generosity with all the memberships, you allow me to do things way sooner than I ever thought I'd be able to. Sometimes some of the things that, as the channel grows and does things happen. People let me check out certain knives that I enjoy and I get to share with you guys, and other people get to learn from and then maybe get excited about too. And I love that part about it. And that's what you guys do. And you help me to continue to have a giveaway every week and then do the monthly, the 2 things that you help with that. There's 2 things also for you members that I do as well in my way to say thank you. But you allow me to check these out so I can ship all the knives back. So I do 2 things back for you. I do a once a month members exclusive giveaway. It's not just a budget banger like I do every week. I try to do a budget banger giveaway for everybody. But once a month, I try to get a nicer knife. Not just a budget banger, but definitely a nicer knife. Something that I hope you would enjoy or enjoy giving away. So I do that once a month. The other thing I do is all brand new channel members, I'd love to send you a channel sticker and a little thank you note. As long as you're currently a member right now, you've never gotten a channel sticker, you never requested a channel sticker, I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and send you a little thank you note if you will email me your name and address. Now that may apply if you've been a member all along and you never asked, or if you were a member before and then became a member again recently. Yeah, that you would qualify. As long as you're currently a member, you've never gotten a channel sticker, email me. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. Hey, if you haven't already, check me out over on Instagram as well at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.